And live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Ask Engineer. It's me, Lady Ada the Engineer. With me, Mr. Lady Ada on camera control, broadcasting live from downtown Manhattan. So we have the Adafruit factory where we do our kitting and coding and soldering and shipping and videoing and more. Right now, it's actually a holiday for the company.
That's right.
But we're still working a little bit. We still have a show. I'll give you some updates on what's going on in the world of making, hacking, and more. We've got discount codes, we've got new products, we've got videos and tutorials. Like I said, a bunch of people are out, but we still have enough for our show, so we thought we would do it.
Yeah.
Tell them what's the code for tonight.
Code load sell 10% off in the Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. You get free stuff in the USA. Lady Ada will go over that pretty soon. Talk about our live shows, including Show and Tell, which we just did. We got JP's product pick of the week highlight, the Made in New York City factory footage, speed up from Nine Pedro. We've got Eye on MPI. This is Avon, brought to you by DigiKey. Thanks, DigiKey. We got Top Secret. We got a bunch of designs we're going to show off. Some new products. We're going to answer your questions. We do that in Discord, adafruit.it/Discord. Go over there and post your questions throughout the show. That's where we do it. All that and more on, you guessed it,
Dun, dun.
Ask an Engineer.
Okay,
Okay,
let's kick it.
Don't forget, code load sell. What do they get in the USA when they add stuff to the cart?
When you buy from adafruit.com and your address is in the United States, we will send you free stuff. Like for $99 or more in your order, you'll get the free PCB coaster, beautiful gold Adafruit logo, and some bumpers. $149 or more, you'll get a KB2040 all-in-one microcontroller board that's Pro Micro compatible. This is great for keyboard or other projects. $199 or more, you get free UPS ground shipping, again in the continental United States. And $299 or more, a free Circuit Playground Express. An all-in-one dev board, great for use with Arduino or CircuitPython. Code.org, CS Discoveries, or MakeCode. It's a great way to learn electronics without needing anything other than a USB cable.
All right, today is Juneteenth, June 19th, 2024. It is a paid holiday for our team, and you can check out what we do. More than just a logo or a hashtag, we wanted to have our team put together the things that are important to them. So check out adafruit.com. You can see the banner, and then look at the blog posts and more from our team. You can learn about Juneteenth. There's a museum. It's a special exhibit for Black inventors. There's a reading list. There is how it became a national holiday, free events for the summer, things to do in New York City in particular.
Week. I'm sure that's going to be great.
Events in Oregon. And then PBS for Kids has 14 kid-friendly books for celebrating Juneteenth and more. So if you want to see what we did this year and what we have in our previous years, do check it out there. The team has a ton of posts and more. You can also check out our different social media places and more. All right. Live. We just did our show and tell. Yeah, this is live shows. We have a bunch of live shows. We just did show and tell. You can watch it. For show and tell.
Cosplay was great.
Yeah, so we had the Xerox. Yeah, JP showed a cool MIDI synth thing that we played in the beginning of the show. Jeplo had some really neat retro stuff with one of our upcoming products, a floppy reader writer, and then we had Mouse show a asteroid detection system. We're good
for a little bit.
Yeah, and then we had a really cool cosplay project, and then we had some updates on a weather project. So if you want to watch it, go check out our channels. The show and tell just got posted now. And then on Sundays, we do From the Desk Lady Ada, including Great Search. You can check that out. We just published the latest ones where Lady Ada shows and shares things that she's working on, and also the Great Search where she helps you find things.
It's great to see what I'm like in the middle working on. Sometimes you can get sneak peeks.
And then on Tuesdays, we have JP product pick of the week. Here's this week's highlight.
555 PWM output stemma. So I've got a PC sitting on my workbench. And right here, I've got my little 555 timer. And it is plugged into the power and ground and tachometer reader pins on the motherboard for the system fan. I have disconnected the case fan. Normally, if you disconnect the fan on this type of motherboard, you're going to get an alarm. But in this case, that fan is totally unplugged. It says the current system fan speed is 1,155 RPM. I'm going to turn the little screw there. You'll see I'm essentially fooling the BIOS into thinking we have the fan running down in the 700 RPM range, or I can start to turn that back up. 555 PWM output stemma.
And don't forget, Thursday is JP's workshop tomorrow. And then Scott's off for the week, so I think it's going to be deep dive with Tim this week. All right, Python on hardware. This is from our newsletter that we do each week. Tens of thousands of subscribers join in. So we're doing news kind of real time-ish. So last week we talked about Raspberry Pi being a public company. On Raspberry Pi, they have a really good article about doing silicon, about their chip making process and some of the people behind it. So you can check that out. Last week we covered this, but just to reiterate, they went to the London Stock Exchange, which is interesting because it wasn't the New York Stock Exchange. And it, I think it helped hold what that financial
You can still buy stock around the world. It's just like it's
yeah, but I
guess
think
it's mediated through the London Exchange.
yeah, and I think one of the goals was for the that financial district world that's not US based is like they wanted some winners. So this was a winner. Congrats
Yeah.
to the
So it's like a British, it makes sense.
Yeah.
A British company. They should celebrate. And,
check out the Flowers talk from SuperCon 2023, the absurd idea of rendering KiCad projects on the web. It was just released on YouTube. And then you wanted to talk about Simon Monk's latest book, programming ESP32s with MicroPython.
Yeah, so Simon Monk is, he's a friend of the fruit. We carry a lot of his stuff. We've carried his books. He's written guides, some of our most popular guides on the learning system. He's an excellent educator, an excellent writer, really good at coming up with the basics that people want to know. So having him write a book about MicroPython and ESP32 like makes a ton of sense. Definitely if you're getting started with electronics and you want to do IoT and Wi-Fi projects, but you don't want to get involved in C coding, you want something a little easier, check out his book. I mean, he's a really good teacher, not just a doctor. He's also a teacher, and he's got some great kits as well. If you want to help support him, we carry a bunch. So I guess it's not. I don't know if it's available for just now, or you can sign up to get it when it's released. Either way. I haven't read it, but I recommend anything by him.
Let's see. It looks like
You can get it now.
It's available. It already has a rating.
Or Kindle and 5 star. I give it 5 stars too. That wasn't my review, but I'd also give it 5 stars.
There's already reviews rolling in. Congratulations.
Yes.
So do check that out.
And we'll work out with our hard work too.
He uses Thani as a Python editor, which I think is really good because it's a simple
it's
editor.
So like people want to learn. The ESP32 is a great thing to do with MicroPython or CircuitPython.
Yep. All right, you can check out some TensorFlow, TensorFlow benchmarks on Raspberry Pi. Bunch of talk about Swift on microcontrollers. Just so everyone knows, we've looked at this. We're waiting for some of the examples to work and get compiled before we go in and do stuff.
So, I'll be honest, I looked at it and there's a couple issues of people saying I can't even compile the blank.
Yeah, so as soon as we see stuff, and if you have stuff working, let us know. Get cheat sheet, notes from Adafruit Playground if you want to check out some of the new projects. This is an instrumentation vibe for display I/O. It's a hidden clock and more, and just tons and tons.
I just talked to also prototype faster and happier. Yeah, this is cool. This is from a Hackaday conference, I think.
Yeah.
All
right.
Yeah, lots of good stuff, lots of good hardware. For sure.
Lots of demos. Don't forget, this is delivered to you every single week in your mailbox, no spam. You don't even need to sign up if you don't want to, but if you do, adafruitdaily.com, completely separate website from your store experience, so you know it has nothing to do with your online email account they use for buying stuff. All right, let's do some learn guides, open source hardware, and more. Lady Ava, what is on the big board this week?
Okay, I think this week it was again people mostly I think these 3 guides these 4 guides. So JP did a guide for that USB MIDI host messenger. This is interesting because it takes USB host as a USB host to MIDI. So if you have a synthesizer or sequencer or whatever that has USB port, you can now have it, you basically pretend like it's a computer and you can read the messages or send many messages to it over USB. And then you can have a USB like 5 DIN port as well, so you can bridge between two devices. So we talked to JP, and he's like, "Oh yeah, normally people would use like a Raspberry Pi for this, and it'd be like expensive and complicated and delicate. This is like all solid state, no operating system. So it boots. It's in Arduino with the TD USB library, boots instantly, and is fast and configurable. Or maybe use a Circuit Python. I don't remember. Either way, it's very fast and configurable. Uses the RP2040 USB. Yeah, sorry, it's yeah, USB host feather. Not doesn't use the host wing. Sorry. Whew. A lot going on. Also, Liz did guides for the NeoPixel breakout, the DS2484 I2C to 1-wire bus adapter with CircuitPython library now, as well as Arduino, and also example code and CircuitPython and Python, CPython for the CH9228 UART to keyboard breakout. So I think we're pretty much caught up.
Yep.
All the latest products now have guides to go with them. Thank you, Liz.
Alrighty, and let's do some main New York City factory footage. Alrighty, that's our factory footage for the week. For 3D printing this week, we have a speed up, and now if you're ready, take it away. Alrighty, don't forget the code tonight is load cell. And if you're in the US, as you add things to your cart, one of these or many of these things can be yours. So let's jump right into INPI. INPI brought to you by DigiKey and Adafruit. Thank you, DigiKey. This week is Avon.
Avon Tools. Yes, I always love featuring new companies. Of course, love those classic chip companies, but for tools, there's a lot of smaller businesses that have great tools available. And this week we're looking at Avon Tools. I mean, they're not small, but they're not multi-trillion-dollar companies. So what I really liked this week was the Easy Pick tweezer kit sets from Avon, available DigiKey in both 6 and 9. And what I really like is, first off, you get a variety of different tweezers, but they're all great for electronics, rework and repair and assembly. And they're color coded, and they've got like the part number very clearly labeled on them. So if you're like, oh yeah, for 0402s, I really like the purple, you can grab the purple. You don't have to like dig through and try to read small, like laser engraved print on your tweezers. So yeah, these are the color coded precision tweezers for precision assembly. So I picked up a set. I'm definitely going to be using them. There's 9 different colors. Some are, I'll show them on the overhead, pointed, serrated, flat, narrow, super tapered, fine tapered. For a lot of people, they might be like, these all sound and look the same. But if you're doing a lot of hand assembly or a lot of hand rework, you'll very quickly know that, small differences in the tip and the serration or the length of the tweezers can make your assembly a little bit faster and a lot easier on your hands. This especially made us think of the contest that DigiKey is doing right now, the business card hack contest with Hackaday. And you can, if you want, you can pop over to it.
Yeah.
Basically, I just took the screenshot of the
Yeah,
the
right
contest.
now, if you check it out on Hackaday.io, I wanted to look at it. They got 55 submissions.
So all of them, well, first of all, the submissions are great, but a lot of them use very small parts because if you have, like this is the one's through hole, but if you go down, you'll see ones with lots of surface mount components. Like check this, it's like some CNC controller and like a
Yeah, these are cool.
yeah, like a UV monitor, I don't know, all sorts of stuff. E-ink displays. To make it thin and small, you'll use a lot of surface mount components. And there are a few through hole, but a lot of people these days are doing hand assembly of SMT. Which you kind of have to do because most components come in SMT. So this is why a good tweezer set is important because when you get the low cost tweezers in your soldering pack, I mean, they're probably fine. They're probably good for something like a 1206. So this is like my Minty MP3 design. So when I was first starting electronics, I used 1206 components. They're very large and easy to pick and place. But as I've been doing more and more assembly and like we got a pick and place where I'm just trying to make smaller boards, I've moved to this one has 0805. We still have a lot of designs with 0805. But now a lot of my designs are moving to 0603. And that's 6 mils by 3 mils. And even now you'll see on this RP 2040 feather, there are some larger capacitors that are 0805. I don't even use 1206 anymore, except for like power resistors. And there's a couple of 0603 capacitors, but there's also a bunch of 0402 parts. And once in a while, I'll even use 0201. So, 402 is when it's compact, especially as you're using fine pitch chips, you'll need fine pitch components to go with them because you have to have like capacitors near the power rails, but still have space for traces to go around them. So that's where 402s or 201s are going to be popular. And then don't forget, you can of course get the resistor kits in those sizes from DigiKey if you want to practice your fine pitch soldering. And if you're really handy with these tweezers, take them to your local APEC or IPC Expo event, and you can try out your hand in the hand soldering competition. The right tweezers are definitely essential for the job. So let's go to the overhead, and then we'll show the video and or the stock page. Okay, so it comes in a nice storage kit. So this is the 9-piece. There's also a 6-piece. It's less expensive, but I was like, I'm going to splurge. So a lot of the differences you're going to see are going to be in the points. This is a fairly fine point, but the body is rounded here, and it's fairly thick. You're going to have a trade-off between how fine the point is and how easy it is to accidentally bend. Although these are nice and heavy, and of course, longer ones, can sometimes be. I mean, I like to hold my tweezers kind of close to the tip. You're also going to see variation in, like this one is quite thick and it's serrated, and it's got a serrated groove here for gripping. Mostly, I mean, to be honest, they look quite similar, but some of them they just vary in how much they're tapered. So this is like the most tapered. This is medium taper, and this is, maybe shorter. So the length of the body is going to vary. Shorter ones usually mean you can get a little bit more leverage. But if you have to like reach, far into the PCB, it's a little tougher. This one's kind of nice because it's got a nice big grip area, and then a very fine taper for reaching into small locations. Some people really like the curved, like I don't know what they're like, beaked tweezers. Definitely if you want to reach over, like you want to have the posture of your hand flat, but you want to reach down. And then of course, don't forget, you'll sometimes still want to have, those duckbill flat nose tweezers. These are really good, especially if you have larger components and you want to get a good grip. One of the things about fine tips is that parts will flip on you, whereas with the flat tips, they won't. And then there's some, this one's a little longer and it's a slightly duller tip. It's not super fine, but that's okay. Again, for larger components, you don't want to have the fine tip because it'll the parts will flip on you very easily. So a lot of nice options. And I like again that they're color coded so you can, if you have a favorite, you know to reach for it. And if you want to replace it, you also know what color. So easy to find, especially if they get mixed in your tool bin.
Okay, available on DigiKey. There's stock 12 right now. So
Yes,
you could get these.
you could. There's also there's a lot of the 6. These are new, so there's less in stock, but there's also a bunch of the 6-piece
All right,
kit.
we have a video. We're gonna play it.
Our easy pick tweezers are color-coded for easy identification. The yellow tweezer, for instance, represents the AA style, designed for very strong and precise tasks. The orange tweezer is the 7 style, with curved superfine points for assembly work. Our color-coded designs allow you to effortlessly identify and pick the right tweezer for your task. Manufactured from anti-magnetic, anti-acid 304 series stainless steel. These tweezers are exceptionally durable and perfect for working in areas with magnetized components. Each color represents a different tip pattern, making it easy to pick the right tool for the job. From the yellow AA to the black 2A, we've got you covered.
Okay, don't forget the code is LOADCELL.
Load it up.
10% off an Adafruit store. And there's a bunch of free stuff you get.
Okay.
All right, let's jump over new products. First up.
All right. We've got the new Halo AI M2 hat kit for Raspberry Pi 5. It's only for the Pi 5 because you need the PCIe slot. But if you want to run TensorFlow Lite at like as good or better than desktop speeds, this AI accelerator that uses the PCIe port doesn't require USB. So you don't have to worry about the USB slowing stuff down. And there's already like pre-compiled versions of all the AI and machine learning tools that you'll want that take advantage of the accelerator. So you can have like a little machine that can do edge and video, edge machine learning, video and audio recognition without using the cloud.
Okay, next up.
Next up, this is kind of exciting. Hopefully this is the beginning of a new big thing. So we've got the TRS Trinky in the shop, which is used for assistive tech. And one of the things I wanted to do is have an enclosure for it so that people who used it didn't have to worry about accidentally like getting it dusty or dirty or spilling something on it. Even though it's not an IP67 case, something to protect it. So Noah and Pedro did a 3D printing project where they 3D printed a case, but a lot of people don't have a 3D printer and maybe they don't want to like separately order a 3D printed case. So I used a quick turn like SLA printing service. They're not, so this is made with like a resin process. So it doesn't have, it has a good tolerance to make a snap fit case for the TRS Trinky. So the case comes in 2 pieces. There's no screws required. You just snap it right onto your TRS Trinky. And then there's a little button wedge, like the little U is the reset button. There's also a slot for the STEMMA QT port. And then, of course, on the end, you have the, if you go back one, there's the TRS jack you can plug in to make your custom buttons and switches. And if this works out, we will make lots more
Have a good one.
cases. If you have requests for, oh, I really want a case that does this and this, we've made cases for products like the Circuit Playground and for the Raspberry Pi, but injection molding is a very expensive and long taking process with a lot of revisions. What I like about this is that, we can order a couple hundred at a time. If people like them, we can tweak them, we can improve on them. They only come in, kind of an off-white color or maybe black. But for a lot of people, that's plenty fine. One thing I do like is it's a translucent white, so the NeoPixel glows through.
Okay, next up.
Next up is some breakout boards from us. So we wanted to have stuff that plugs directly into a USB-C port. We wanted to first find a really good USB-C plug, something that has all the pins that we need and is like edge mounted, so you can, plug a device straight in to a USB-C port, but doesn't require an external case to keep it mechanically stable. So this is a nice plug because it has a little bit of like a through-hole tab, but still has plenty of pins and is fairly easy to solder, not too expensive. And it has the power and data pins plus the CC1 pin. A lot of people ask, hey, wait, don't you need the CC2 pin? No, not on the plug. The plug side actually only uses one side of the USB-C connection. That's normal. And then on the USB jack side, it detects which CC pin is connected, and that way it knows which direction it's plugged in. It should be symmetric. If it isn't, there's something kind of messed up about your computer. But this way it can tell like if it's plugged upright or down ways. Like I said, 99.99% of the time, your computer or host device will connect both together. And you can also disconnect the CC1 pin if you want this as a host USB. So you want to measure the resistance, so you can remove the 5.1K. But this, what's nice is you can plug it right into a USB power delivery, and it'll give you 5 volts. And then if you want data pins from a computer or to connect the data pins of a client device, you're good to go. So I think that this kind of covers everything people need for a USB-C plug. We're trying it out, and if this works out, we'll make some devices that can plug right into USB-C.
All right, start of the show tonight. Episode related, our team, our customers, and more is
Dun, 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 the HX711 load cell amplifier for load cell, strain gauges, and other fine Wheatstone bridge type devices. We stock a I2C version of this kind of sensor, not the exact same one, called the NAU7802. I kind of prefer it because I like I2C, but there's a lot of people who are like, well, I want to connect or log them together. We'll show them in a second. Yeah, they want to connect a bunch together and they want to use 2 data pins, because then you can have as many. You don't have to worry about sharing the bus and the addresses. Maybe they already have code for the HX711. I don't know. It was a common request from people. So we made a breakout. This is based on the SparkFun HX711. They made an open source version of breakout board, and we looked at it and took what we thought was awesome and then added some different stuff that we thought was awesome. So what's nice about this breakout is it has both the A and B channel exported out on the terminal block. So you can connect 2 Wheatstone bridges. You share the E minus and E plus exciter pins, but then you have 2 different bridges. The A bridge has 30, I think 64 or 128 gain, and the B bridge has a fixed 32 gain. There's separate power pins for the VIO is the interface voltage, and VIN is like the excitation voltage. So if you have a quieter supply versus your GPIO logic level, you might want to have those separated. Clock and data, it's not SPI, it's SPI-ish, but it's not SPI. Thankfully, the pin runs, the chip runs on 3 volt or 5 volt IO, and so you don't need a level shifter, because again, it's like a bidirectional system. And then the rate select, so you can select either 80 samples per second or 10 samples per second. So let's go to the overhead. I can show a quick demo. So this is, I've got my ESP32 S2 TFT. I got wired up. What's nice is you only need power and then the 2 data pins. And then I have a strain gauge, and then even as I pick it up, it starts the value starts changing. So one thing you'll notice is that it's updating really fast because I have it selected for high. If you want more precise, you can set for low. It's only 10 samples per second, but that's still like pretty fast. And then as I twist and bend this, it's going to show like the value changing. So like, it's a 1 kilogram. So as I provide enough force to, torque it as much as like a 1 kilogram weight would, you'll see it goes negative if I push and positive if I pull. And that's the A channel. Again, there's a B channel as well if you like. seems to work pretty well. We've got Arduino and CircuitPython code ready to go. And it's almost fully assembled. You get the terminal block on it. So you just need headers or wires if you'd like. And you're ready to measure. It's a very popular strain gauge or load cell amplifier. Seems to work quite well. Yay! New.
All right, so what we're going to do is a bunch of top secret. Don't forget the code is load cell for any of those things you saw. Then we're going to do questions. We answered them in Discord. I stored up a couple already.
Put them in Discord.
Let's go to top secret.
Open the vault.
All right, first up.
Okay. I was chatting with Anne about some retro stuff, and we're like, oh, we don't have an RS-232 level shifter. So, and I was like, I think I chatted about this on Descalade Data. I used to do a lot of stuff with RS-232. And these days, I use USB a lot, but still, it's good to have a little level shifter. So this is one that takes a DE9, standard 9-pin D sub, and converts the plus minus 12, plus minus 6 volts, whatever, into 3 or 5 volt logic level with all of the pins. I don't remember the exact part number. I think this is the Max 3423. Anyways, watch Desk of Lady Ada. You'll see how I picked it.
Next up.
I also made a tiny Max 3232 breakout. This one doesn't have the DE9. It doesn't have all of the I/O. It just does 2 channels of RX and TX, but it's very compact. So good if you're connecting to retro stuff, things that are RS-232 logic level, and you want to use 3 or 5 volt logic level on the other side.
Next up.
I had a request for an IR transceiver, which is not the same as the IRDA transceiver. They wanted something different. I was like, okay, I can design something like that. So this has 2 IR emitters, 940 nanometers, and one 38 kilohertz IR receiver for remotes. It's kind of like send and receive IR remote signals, and I put a JST-PH connector on there. It's not stemma because it's not I2C, but you can use the same cables to send and receive, and you can use 3 or 5 volt logic.
Next up.
I wanted to make another version of the HUSB 238, which is like a popular USB Type-C PD dummy board. We already have one, but I wanted one that was like kind of ready to go and didn't need any soldering to use. So it says USB-C, and if you wanted to use I2C to control it, there's a QT port. But if not, you can just flip one of the switches on the little dip switches on the side there. They're like a compact dip switch. So you have like 5 through 20. So you flip the switch that matches the voltage you want on, and then poof, the voltage comes out on the terminal block on the end. And it's like fully assembled. So I'm ready to go.
There's one from Liz.
I know. So all those were from me. But Liz is also she wanted to get in on the hardware design, because what's life without suffering? Anyways, so one of the projects we're working on is this IKEA Vin drinking. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know how to spell it either. PM 2.5 sensor that we want to remix the input insides and use an ESP module instead, and have like a drop-in board that you just like unplug the existing board, plug in this board. But that PCB design has this kind of vertical USB-C. So I was like, okay, well, let's start by just making a breakout for the USB-C connector, and then we can work on getting the rest of the board design. So she did a great job making a footprint. She did a blog post about it, and we're going to start with just the breakout. I think this will be kind of a useful thing anyways. A USB-C breakout that's easily mountable for vertical USB-C connectivity.
Top secret.
A lot of top, a lot of secret.
Okie dokie. We have some questions lined up already. We're going to do them, and then we're going to get out of here. Kind of put a baby to bed.
Baby.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
First up, someone ordered a Seaside Tiny 1616. The scanner shows 0x49, changes pin to 12, don't update the address. UPDI programming fails with error. UPDI init failed, can't read your CS. Well, UPDI does work on the board. I have AT Tiny 1624. Is it a faulty board, or do you think it's something else?
I think it's something else, because if you're seeing the I2C address, it means it was programmed, and we program over UPDI. So the UPDI probably works. Don't forget you have to power cycle after you change the address. on pins. If it's pin 12 and 13, you do have to, you can't, you turn off your whole thing and replug it in. And you have to solder things too. People, we've noticed lately, a lot of people just like have a wire sort of dangling on. You can't do that. It has to be soldered in. If you're still having issues, you can post in the forums and probably help you out.
Okay. Next up, are these from Ion MPI ESD Safe?
I don't
Doesn't say so on the product page.
think so, but I'll be honest, I don't use ESD tweezers because they're metal, they're already conductive. If you're ESD grounded, the conductivity will flow through you. But I will also say, that's not IPC compliant. So, but I'm a punk rock,
Okay. Question on possible future Adafruit floppy emulator product mentioned earlier. Is there a path someone could follow to potentially get on the firmware software development and for that? Yeah.
I would subscribe to Adafruit_floppy, the GitHub repo, because this project was delayed because we couldn't get chips, and then I had all this other stuff going on. But I do want to get back to it. Here's the good news: floppies are still like retro. Like they're never like once something's retro, it's retro for life. So you'll see more development on it. I've recently did a couple cleanups on that repo.
Okay. Those pins look quite large for USB-C. Is the model wrong? I guess they were asking about this. Maybe this one. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think the 3D model is correct. It's about, USB-C is about 4, 3
Hmm.
pins. Well, I mean, there's this big plastic chunk, and remember, it's the socket, so it's going to be bigger than the plug. So I think it's okay.
All right. I'll ask this question because sometimes I see this. I was talking to you about this earlier. So we sell batteries that have documentation and they're good batteries, and you can look at the factory and you can get the
UN83.
yeah, you can get the all the important sheets that you need
Yeah.
for certifications and more. However, a lot of people will get batteries from other sources and power maybe one of our designs or something's based off our design, and it's different. So when someone's building a product or something and they're looking for batteries and they're like, how come polarities are different from battery vendor to battery vendor? Why is that, Lady Ada?
So first off, there's no fixed standard. It's not like there's some document somewhere like the RS-232. There is a standard for RS-232. Pin 5 is ground, pin 2 is TX, pin 3 is RX. Like that's fixed. Nobody's gonna change that. But with the batteries, we design our boards using the same standard that SparkFun used. Like whatever they picked, we wanted to make it compatible because we thought it would be cruel if people couldn't mix and match
Yeah,
batteries.
people buy, in our arena, yeah.
Seed and SparkFun had already carried batteries
SparkFun, Adafruit.
in this pinout configuration. We went with their compatibility because the maker market's the same. Other companies and people do different. We cannot hold them.
One thing you could say is, if you're into open source, is what do the most open source hardware certifications use? So if your hardware is open source certified,
Pretty much everything in
to
the open hardware market is the same.
yeah, so everything that's certified open source hardware with an OSHA certification
Yeah.
uses the standard that we're using, and people are using the same things that we're using. So if you're bouncing between SparkFun, Seed, Adafruit, that's pretty much what we cater to. And then a lot of people have copied. But here's the other thing: because our hardware is open source hardware certified, the schematics are up forever. It's documented. There's code. There's sheets that go with.
Well, I now actually put the plus and if you look on the feather on the overhead, I put plus and minus marking on all the feathers. It's actually built into the footprint for the battery connector because so many people are like, I couldn't tell what it is. So if you look next to the connector,
And all our sheets are online.
you can, I mean, it's a little rough to see, but you can see there's a
download them.
plus and a minus.
Those are all the documentation that we have are on the product pages.
Yep. And we warn people in the guide too. We're like, don't use the wrong ones.
Yeah. So I'd say, because you're never going to make anyone happy if they're doing stuff and it's different. But
nobody's happy in general.
But no one's happy in general. But what you can do is be consistent. And so non open source hardware certified designs probably do something different. Get batteries on Amazon is probably something different. But if you're in the open source hardware community, they all kind of use the same thing. Okay.
Okay.
Them's are questions. Let me make sure. Let me see if anything else came out.
No, I think that
is it.
okay.
Alrighty, them's our questions. Use code. Buy some batteries. Load sells a code, 10% off an Adafruit store, and you have free stuff. Boop, 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 boop,
Boop,
boop, boop.
boop, boop.
This has been Adafruit Production. We will see everybody next week. See you later. Here's your moment of Zener.
Bye, everybody.